What's going on, everybody? Welcome. So this is I guess a midnight, late night, 2 a.m. sort of rant. I don't know if it's a rant, but it is a explanation of what I feel is a really bad thing that's going on within spiritual awakening. I don't know if I'm even going to share this video with anybody at any point. The lighting is bad, and what else? I'm very tired, and I'm in a garage. Not really great qualities for an outstanding video on a serious or spiritual topic. So if at this point you decide, what the hell am I doing watching this guy in his big stupid yellow sweater, I should go watch cat videos, in which case I wish you well on your journeys of hours and hours into the cat videos stratosphere on YouTube. It's very deep, very deep. But I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. I hope it makes sense at some point. It might not. But in any case, let's get to it. So the title is probably going to be something like Why I'm Not New Age, right? Why I do not practice New Age spirituality. To start with that, I want to talk about something that I think is very relatable. And bear with me here. I believe this will tie into things. I want to start with the fact that it's very hard for me to change. Very, very hard for me to change. It's very hard, if you're watching this video, for you to change. Probably, if you're someone who watches my content, watches content similar to me, you are probably someone who has dealt with change, an issue of change in your life. Okay, whether you did it well, you did it bad, or sometimes both, you understand that change is a very important part of life, and specifically of this awakening journey, of the spiritual process that we can all say many of us are going through, regardless of how we define it. Okay, so as this begins, and as this sort of transitions into what I want to talk about, I want to talk about this change that we all understand, and something that I'm not very good at doing, okay? So a lot of the time we know what we want to do, and we know even how to do it or what to do, right? Maybe you realize, for example, that a diet plan would help you get back on track into something. Even if you don't know whatever else you're supposed to do in your life, you know that this one thing is what you know. And you know that if you did something around this thing, it would bear some level of sort of success in your life, right? Even if it isn't like monetary or external, you know that if you can conquer a part of yourself that's been really hurting the forward momentum of your life and draining your energy, then you know that you'll be successful in some way, right? If you can do that, that'll be a powerful feeling. And you can't. It's very hard. You're not changing your diet, for example. You're not maybe, hanging out with bad friends or something like that, bad influences, influences that aren't good for you, I should say. And a lot of that is, stuff that we go through various points, right? Examples from my own life, probably examples from your life. And, no matter, you still can't get rid of these things that are bothering you, whatever it is, right? And that's really, really hard, isn't it? And you know exactly what you should do. And you even know you could talk to people, you could take new advice, you could try new things, you could read about it, you could just do it. You can, on every level, spiritual, intellectual, right? With all of your abilities, your skill, your talents, your intellect, your wisdom, all of this, your intuition, that this is something you should do. And yet, at the end of the day, you still can't do it. Despite your best plans, efforts, and goals, and your ability and skills and everything that I've already mentioned, despite all of that across the board, you still can't change. You still can't change. I mean, seriously. I still can't change, right? Other people still can't change. It's an interesting process. And the process looks like complete stalemate. It just looks like end of the road, don't know what the hell to do, because nothing's changing on the outside. Your life is staying exactly the same. Not because you're imperfect. You don't have to be perfect to get a good life. It's because there's something that is unresolved within you, and that's taking up all of your energy, all of your time. So you're constantly, like, basically you're constantly in a state of distress here in your heart space. That might have hurt you if you're listening with headphones. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry. Okay, so I'm a little sorry. And anyway, so this big hole, pain here, this chest area at the heart, that's sadness. It's emotional, right? So why are we not changing? It's because we have something going on here. We have some emotion and some old feelings that are in the way, some really stuff that hurts that we haven't really dealt with. And all of that stuff is not going away. It's not changing. None of it's changing. So what do? Right? Come up with more plans, right? But it's this stuff. This stuff doesn't want to do it. And you're an elephant. Your heart, your emotions are an elephant, and you're at best the guy on top riding the elephant. Your thoughts and your mind, they're not in control. This is in control. That's why, despite all of your intelligence and who you are, this powerful being, despite all of that, you can't do anything about it. So it's not your fault. Obviously, you're not in control. Obviously, your mind is not in control because it knows what to do. Your intuition knows what to do. There are different elements. You're not an idiot. So if you're not an idiot, then obviously it's not your attempts that are incorrect. It's not really, it's that you don't need to do it. You know what I mean? It's sort of like you're trying to play a game where the rules are fucked up and they don't really work, and you keep losing at the game. And you're like, well, fuck, I'm an idiot. I should be able to beat this. No, you shouldn't. It's like asking a fish to climb a tree and then judging its ability based upon that. It's a fish, probably not going to do a great job. It's probably going to die as soon as it gets out of, its water, its little home environment. It's not climbing a goddamn tree. So to call ourselves stupid, it just hurts, really. It hurts everything. Doesn't help. Okay, so yes, you have self-sabotaging thoughts that are in the way. Of course, that's a huge part of it, is your thoughts get in the way, but it's also apparently your thoughts that aren't able to save you at the same time. So if your negative thoughts don't matter and your positive thoughts don't matter, in like a sort of a deeper way, of course, how you talk to yourself matters, but the just general statement, they're not as powerful as what's going on here. So if they don't matter, if they're not in control, if your thoughts and your mind and your ego is not in control, then it's obviously the elephant. And the elephant's just trying to get to water. And unless you guide it to water, which is deal with the elephant, you're not going to be able to have a safe ride. You're not going to get to where you want to go, really, because the elephant's just looking for water. It's like, you know what? I need water. Fuck it. I'm going to go through this goddamn bush, and it's going to be a difficult journey for both of us, but I need to get water. And you're stuck along for the ride, constantly coming up with schemes on top of the elephant to get back to the way you were. To where you were before, where you were down maybe an easier path to water. So your emotions don't really know what the hell's going on. Your emotions have no idea what's going on. And there's an elephant. Again, it's not, you're the one that guides the elephant, but you are not the elephant. So this is going to do whatever it's going to do. So that's why, when you say, well, if I start an exercise program, start eating well, maybe just something simple. Start with just stretching. That's all you got to do. Start with stretching. And you get up and you feel depressed. You feel sad. You don't feel motivated. Your lack of discipline, self-sabotaging thoughts begin because you're not doing the things that you planned to do, right? So this is where the self-sabotaging comes from. It's our mind sabotaging our own mind, okay? It's not like, that's not even our fault either. So if all that's going on, all that's happening, then this sort of like pressure from the outside life as well, okay? So you have that, and then you have this to deal with. So you add all of this stuff up together, and you have basically a recipe for disaster, okay? So you go back to the elephant. The elephant just wants to get that singular desire, and it can't. So you wake up depressed. You wake up depressed because you didn't get the water that day. The part of you, the thing that influences all of your actions, which is your emotions, didn't want to get up, didn't want to do the thing, didn't want to do it. Elephant didn't find the water, or it's trying to find the water, it's trying to do something, and you are trying to get it to go build a civilization or to go hang out with friends. You're trying to get the elephant to do something else. The elephant's not listening. You can't control the elephant. You're not the elephant. You can guide the elephant, but what the elephant wants is where you're going. And all of that together, add all of it together, and you have really only one option left. If it's not your fault, if it's not because you're an idiot, then you have only one option left. And it's to listen to the elephant. That's all you have. It's to listen to the elephant. Listen to the emotions. And that is why I'm not New Age. Because I'm not New Age, because New Age tries to fix your mind. New Age tries to influence your mind to do something impossible. It tries to convince your mind to stop being a mind. And that in itself is a mind fuck. And I'll try to make it more simple for you, because I don't know if that really comes out the way I want it to. What I'm trying to say by all of this is toxic positivity. That's really what I'm trying to spew out here, is it only looks at the mind, and it blames the ego, and it blames the mind, and because we're already identified with the mind as human beings, we just blame ourselves even more, and if we already have tendencies to do that, then, times two, and you add this journey and this awakening process, and then external pressures, it becomes a lot. And I've noticed in my travels and my journeys that people that are New Age, the hippies, the people that are going off, on 16 retreats a year and doing all of this stuff to appear spiritual and, collecting 100 crystals and judging you based on your, astrological sign, or making wild assumptions about things like that. People that just want to give you affirmations. They just want to hand you pithy things. They just want to say everything's positive and don't worry about it. And they want to convince you the law of attraction is somehow real. And if it isn't working, it's your fault. They want to, push this whole narrative of life being this magical, wonderful place. And they'll shove you full of labels and bullshit that will completely disrupt your own spiritual awakening. It will completely disrupt the direction in which it's supposed to head, which is not towards some fantasy world. It's towards the reality of your own truth. It's to understanding yourself and loving yourself and possibly, just fucking possibly, making a real positive change around you, to actually influence and help other people that care about you, that you care about, and people you haven't even met, but you share a common goal, right? That's what I'm trying to do here. And everything New Age forces you into a box. And that is not what you want to do on your spiritual awakening journey. And I have been put into a box so many times because I have believed, for example, the law of attraction worked. Or that it was, as easy as it was to be described. But it doesn't. It doesn't actually work. Because it's just like any scheme. It's just like any scheme from the 90s. It's just, the bootstrap mentality wrapped up into a different bow. So I'm not New Age because the ideas behind it, when you look at them more in depth, fall very quickly. They fall on their knees because they're not trying to convince you of the reality of life. They're trying to convince you of a certain perspective of life. And in that sense, it's very religious. And it isn't that it didn't help me, because I don't think, nor am I the opinion of everything in New Age spirituality is inherently stupid or wrong. I'm not making that statement. I'm saying the New Age way of practicing spirituality is hindering the actual process of being awakened, because you have a bunch of people just hopping onto Instagram and claiming that they're life coaches, or claiming that they know who they are or you are, and charging you outlandish prices, and just self-proclaimed gurus, and just spew shit forward because they think they know that's what you want, and so you eat it up. And they do it on TikTok and YouTube, of course, and they do it everywhere, right? They do it everywhere. And you have people that make a lot of millions off of this stuff, actually, telling you the law of attraction works, or similar programs. It doesn't have to be spiritual in nature. And you know who it works for? You know who actually makes money doing that stuff? People convincing other people to pay them to do something. It's the people who go out and sell it. That's who becomes successful at it. The people who are sales, they become salespeople, really. The next person publishes a book about, call it something else other than the secret, the mystery. And, next thing you know, the mystery is the top selling thing because it just says the same shit as the secret except with different words, okay? So you have all of that nonsense filling your brain and you're not able to see things clearly. You're not able to see that, yes, there is a spiritual perspective to things. And yes, there's a physical perspective to things. You obviously are already aware of that. That's what you kind of start with. Then you grow into the spiritual awareness. So now you're sort of aware of your own ethereal being, your own soul, some higher version of yourself existing as a human experience here now. Okay? At least the baseline, you have that understanding, something like that. And despite the mental, you have the mental as well. Their thoughts and mind and ego. Yes, we are responsible for that. Positive thoughts are generally better than negative thoughts, of course, but we're also aware that our mind is useful and a tool, okay? So we think that by focusing just on the spiritual perspective, which is what this New Age kind of forcing you to just really want to see everything as just this pithy, beautiful, positive image. But that's not what true spirituality is, because spirituality is about experience in a deep, deep way, a deep, meaningful way. That's spirituality. And if you want to experience anything deep, you're going to cry. If you want to experience a beautiful moment, a beautiful movie, you're going to cry. You're going to be sad. You're going to feel pain. You're going to feel guilt and shadows and destruction and really negative stuff. You're going to feel all of that because you wanted to experience a life where there is depth, where you can get something out of that, where you can get something out of depth. You can get happiness out of depth. You can get hope. You can get faith. You can get love. You can get your own inner truth, your own voice, wisdom. You can get an idea. You can get anything out of that. You can get humor. There's tons of stuff. The list goes on. You can get a lot of stuff out of feeling like shit. So New Age spirituality is like this way of kind of like not wanting to deal with it. Like, just, oh, fuck it. There's none of that happy shit going on. And by the way, don't curse, because spiritual people don't ever say fuck, stuff like that. That is not a way of actually looking at life, nor would it ever be one that should have been real, because it doesn't make sense. What do you want to experience? Just some of life, or do you want to experience all of it? So yeah, I guess on that perspective, I do want to experience all of it. So maybe New Age spirituality isn't the best way to look at it. Maybe there are elements. Maybe there are elements to these things that are true. Maybe tarot readings are a good way of helping other people. But then what happens is you get addicted to tarot readings. And then what happens is you think they're going to solve all your answers. And then what happens is you're looking to tarot for an external source. And then what happens is you're not getting anything out of tarot anymore, because you've reached the point where all that's left is you and the elephant. It's just you and the elephant, and you have to address the elephant in the room. What a great way to make use of that popular phrase. That was a perfect segue. Good for me, except for fucking up the word segue. But other than that was a good transition. Anyway, continuing. So you have to deal with the elephant in the room, right? And the elephant being your emotions is something that's very dangerous and hard to deal with. That's why we don't do it. Because if we were faced with the elephant, well, we'd have to deal with it. We don't want to deal with it. Don't want to deal with it. We didn't want to deal with it when we were a kid, and that's why it happened. So you build walls around it, and as you get older, you just kind of keep walking away from that wall. And sometimes you do it consciously, escapism, and sometimes you do it inadvertently, where I guess you just, maybe you're a good person, have a good attitude, try to be positive, right? And you just don't deal with it. You just, maybe it's repressed, okay? I think repressed versus suppressed is, suppression is like escapism, I think, from my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure suppression is like you're aware of what you're doing. So instead of like dealing with your emotions, you go, nah, I'm just going to get high, and you get high instead. So that's, I think, that. And then repression is more like you're not really aware of it, so it's repressed, so it's not consciously going on inside of you, but you just live with it. So that's kind of what I mean. So, and people have repressed fears, right? So there's lots of stuff that happens, that comes out, right? So anyway, back on topic. So dealing with your emotions, right? That's a hard thing to do. Nobody wants to do it. Okay, yeah, we get the point. But New Age spirituality doesn't want you to do that. It doesn't really want you to do that. It presents itself as a farcical movement that tries to convince you that everything is positive and that it should be positive, and it wants to fill you with a bunch of crap that doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, it's your fault. So a lot of that stuff just kind of like, it just kind of hurts you in the long run. And there are great tools, there are great things part of New Age spirituality that I enjoy and incorporate. I take the wisdom out of it because there's wisdom in it, but I don't use it. I don't practice it as I wouldn't try to get other people to see things that way, because I don't believe that's grounded spirituality. I don't think that's what that is, right? Grounded spirituality is actually a term I haven't seen, and so I'm kind of just going to go ahead and coin it. And you heard it here, folks. I coined that term. And grounded spirituality is something that I think is what I would like to practice, what I should practice, what I am trying to. And you see that in people like Sadhguru, Jeff Foster. If you don't know who Jeff Foster is, you should check that guy out, because he's pretty much has the perspective that I would like to emanate. I really would. Who else? I think there's a guy named Muji. Is that his name? It's either Mushi or Muji. I'm pretty sure it's Muji with a J. You have Eckhart Tolle, of course. You have I can't say that Vietnamese guy's name. Man, it's so popular too. I really don't know how to say his name, but it's like, Tiet Van Hen. What's bad pronunciation? But you'll recognize his name. He's like a Vietnamese monk. He has all those. You'll see a lot of poems, quotes by him a lot, especially if you have social media. But anyway, he's like a Vietnamese monk or something. I think he's dead now. But and you have like even the Dalai Lama. Okay, you have all these varying degrees of people that are different levels of profession, different levels of success. Okay, Jeff Foster, just a regular YouTuber. Okay. He's not like, doesn't have apparently this huge following like some people that practice New Age do, and that's of course the point. New Age spirituality is popular, but all the other people that I'm talking about, these from different backgrounds, the religions to popularity to successes to demographic, okay, I've named like a variety of people on purpose that are all in different areas, but they all practice sort of this grounded spirituality. They don't say that, but they practice it, because they're not saying everything in life is dumb, but they're saying that you want to be aware of everything. And what I've noticed in all of these people, and of course in myself and watching other humans, is that the elephant is what the problem is. And it's the elephant itself isn't a problem, because you need the elephant, but not dealing with it is a problem. So when the tarot stops working, when the readings stop helping, when the psychics aren't working, when your crystals aren't helping, when your pendulum isn't swinging, when your spirit guides aren't answering, when your angels aren't listening, when the universe seems to be completely closed off to you, when your own higher self seems to have abandoned you and you don't know what's going on, all you have left is what the fuck the problem is. All you have left is just that. Again, sorry. And that is what everybody must face, and that's why I moved away from New Age, because nobody told me that. Nobody said like, hey, I know all that shit you're dealing with is, something you should deal with, but instead of that, how about some crystals? How about a tarot reading? How about all this stuff? How about going to do some stupid ceremony? How about gonna go up to LA and do some dumb shit that would never help me, because that's not who I am. I remember doing stuff that was so stupid, guys, like really stupid stuff. Like, stupid. Like, oh man, like I took frog poison, bufo, combo and bufo. Okay, these are things that are ritual medicines. Okay, so they're shamans basically handle it, and I don't have a problem with shamans. The word sounds silly, but you could just say if you just explained what they do, it sounds perfectly normal. So, somebody helping others with traditional medicine, that's not insane. That's just sort of a different way of looking at things. So of course it can help, right? In the same way that, eating berries, if you're lost in the wild, can help. If that's where you're at and you're lost in the wild, then yeah, I guess maybe those wild berries are going to be what you go for, because it's what you have. But if to get to that point it seems that's what that audience is attracted to, right? So when I was in these ceremonies, these circles, these things, it just seemed like a bunch of people looking to escape through spirituality. It just seemed like just like, shit, I didn't need to do this. I could have just smoked weed. Why the fuck am I trying to escape here too? So you go in thinking that it's gonna work, and people, it works in the sense that something changes. You definitely feel different, but what happens is reality comes crashing back, because the thing that you didn't want to deal with in the first place is still there. So of course then they say to me, well, that was your first time, come back again. You come back and do it a second time, same kind of thing. How many times do I need to go do this expensive medicine before it's supposed to work? How long? And I don't know. It didn't work for me. That's not to say it doesn't work for you, or it hasn't worked for other people, or it won't work for you in the future. It's just, it never felt like it was something I needed to do. It seemed like something that was an avenue for people that just completely like fucking off the rails gone. Like they need to do something so extreme that they need to go that far into their spirituality, apparently. And I don't need to do that. I've never needed to be one whole thing. I've never needed to be one whole thing. I never enjoyed when people did that. And this is what I mean, like identity, like they're identified with their spirituality. I've had these people that were literally caricatures of who you would think someone spiritual is. This guy, man, he never had like a shirt on. This is a good looking guy without a shirt on. He's got like, pecs or whatever. And then he's got like the beads. He's got all the beads, man, fucking so many beads. And he's got like a guitar on his back, and he's got about 100 plants and 100 crystals in his house, and a bunch of tapestries and all this like sound bowls and all this stuff. And all these books are spiritual, like, shit, man, like not even Catcher in the Rye, nothing. You got nothing for me. No good funny books, nothing. No George Carlin, no comic strip, no Calvin and Hobbes, nothing. It's all got to be straight, Buddhist texts and a bunch of you got the Bible in there and a bunch of random other shit and a bunch of Eckhart Tolle books and law of attraction nonsense. Yeah, and it just goes on, and you're like, where's the person? Where is you? Where's the person? Where'd you go? Let's say his name's Tim. It's not Tim, but let's say it is. Where's Tim? Where's that guy? Nowhere, apparently. He's just up there now. So, New Age spirituality, it kind of turns you into like this. It's just a different version of who you think you would be. It's just very strange. And everybody I've come across in those circles, the ceremonies with those drugs, and when they would, try to give me those medicines, honestly, like I was better off not doing it at all. It was a waste of time. And those people aren't even in my life anymore. So, and because I changed, it's viewed as sort of like, oh, Kieran's not open and aware anymore. That's what it kind of feels like. But no, I'm more aware. I'm not less aware. I'm very aware. And I'm very aware that that was not my route to take. And that it did get in the way of my process. Because, man, you just sort of are taught that everything that you need can be just given to you and explained to you. But eventually it's just you and your emotions, guys. It's just you and your emotions. There's nothing to it. It's just that you know what to do. You're not an idiot, so it's not really about making yourself into this amazingly positive person. I think that's a really hard thing to do, and I think there's no shortcuts. I don't think you can take a medicine and just change who you are. I think that would be very rare if you could take a drug and change your whole life. I just don't see that making sense. Not because it's strictly impossible, but because I don't think that would be what your soul would experience. I don't think that would be what you would want, and that is just an opinion, of course, but it seems like the spiritual journey is deeper. Like a real spiritual journey is deeper than just taking a shortcut. It seems like, what would be the point of being here? If you came here to be this awakened being, geez, you know, wouldn't just making spirituality your identity be the opposite of what you were trying to get out of it? So I think a lot of people get caught and trapped there. And I do see that as a lower level on the process of the awakening journey. Maybe in a couple of years I'll see it differently, but as I am now, it seems like a phase that you should go through and then move out of, into what I would call grounded spirituality, where it's just where you bring it back to reality and you try to integrate it and make a positive change in your life, and then in society, where you handle your emotions. You handle your emotions, and that's a difficult thing. And what do you do with your emotions when all they want to do is sit in bed and cry, or all they want to do is paint, or all they want to do is draw? You shouldn't have to give in to every little bit of your desires, every emotional whim. This is not what this video is about either. But you do have to listen. You do have to listen. If you don't listen, then I don't really think you know who you are if you don't listen to yourself. And your heart is very much a huge part of yourself. So if you're not willing to sort of humor your emotions, then it's going to be very hard to actually create change. And the more you resist it, the more realizations you get about why you're resisting it. So it's not like you're still like the same intellect. You still gain knowledge and wisdom from every time you're going through it. You're still gaining experience, but how long do you have to suffer for, honestly? How long do you have to suffer for until you kind of own up to your own emotions before you just say, you know what, today I'm going to go ahead and feel like shit. I'm going to let myself feel like shit because you know what? I feel like shit, and I just might need to cry. I might need to cry for an hour. I might need to sit still and think nothing. I might need to just rest. I might need to cry, rest, sleep, wake up, and then maybe you'll go, you know what? I feel a lot better I did that. I feel a lot better that I cried, rested, went to sleep, took a nap. I love that. And now it's, sure, I didn't get a lot done today. Man, it's 5:30 in the afternoon. Maybe it's dark where you are, right? What are you supposed to do for the rest of the night? Well, maybe you just want to watch a movie. Or maybe you have more energy now, so maybe you do want to do some things that you had planned. But you know, when you were planning it and then not making room for your emotions, it wasn't working. But now that you prioritized your emotions, you prioritized the elephant who is actually in charge, now suddenly the elephant's more willing to be guided. Do you understand? It doesn't really happen the opposite way. So anyway, that's actually a topic for another day. I only really meant it as a intro and a segue into the New Age spirituality. I hope this video made sense. I will do a separate video on probably the emotions and stuff, okay? But for this video, I hope it was okay. I'm going to clarify and just say this was a rant, and I'm so tired. It's like 3 in the morning. I just got really inspired to do this video, and I had to do it, and I just want to go to bed. So I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to do that, and other than that, and me trailing off, I thank you guys for watching. But as a general statement, I want to say, so all that, yeah, so I'm tired, and you know, just tired, and all the stuff I said was a rant, so I didn't really plan any of this. So not only do I hope that it made sense, I hope that it wasn't too offensive, okay? I don't really care about offending you. I don't want to get that twisted. I definitely don't care about offending you. Because that wouldn't be right to care about that. But I don't want to give the impression that that anything you do or believe in is inherently stupid, because I don't think that's a correct platform to take either. So I'm just trying to say, like, with humility, this is just the way that I see it through my own experience. And I really, really feel strongly enough about it to back it up with an argument, and I believe in that argument, and I believe that what I've expressed to you today is actually better. Okay, so that's just my opinion. So I hope that you can take what resonates from this, from my experience, from what I've shared with you today, and just take it for what it is and not get too upset about it, because like I said, there are lots of aspects of New Age spirituality that I actually enjoy. And I have tarot cards. I have like 3 or 4 tarot cards, like decks, not just 4 actual cards. I have 4 decks or so, and they're fun. They're great. I love them. I used to do tarot readings. It just kind of didn't feel like it was helping anymore. Not really the way I wanted to help other people or myself. So, things change, and that's fine too. And it's funny. It only changed again when my heart didn't want to do it anymore. So I listened to my heart. And, okay, change was easy. Don't need them anymore. So listen to that elephant, guys. At least be open to listening. Okay, bye, guys.